you guys were doing that lawn care service, right? You were building up. You say you was in Florida at that time, right? But now, how did you guys get to NY though, right? How was
Yeah.
that transition to New York? And how was the transition from this physical product of you actually servicing lawns to now digital products, digital real estate, right? Kind
Yeah,
of
no,
explain to us that
definitely.
transition for us.
No,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So yeah, so New York. I mean, I was born in New York, but we said, we don't want to go anywhere past Georgia, and that was like our cap until, I mean, we're really like just praying. We're in New York for some time doing like seminars and so on. And at that particular time, the Lord was really blessing. We're like really booked, and things were getting busy with the nonprofit organization that we were doing there. And
Mm.
then, very soon afterwards, we're like, okay, you know what? We're going to head down to Florida. But there were three people who told us about like the property we at right now. And, they
Mm.
kept telling us about it, telling us about it, telling us about it. And we said, okay, you know what, Lord, if you really want us to be in New York, and if this is the property, then I mean, we want to have that entire property just donated to the ministry. We want to, we're an XYZ, and we're really praying like, okay, Lord, if this is meant, we know this is your will.
Mm.
And boom, everything was basically donated. I mean, of course, it had came with certain things that we had to pay off, but then it was very minimal compared to the value. And then the Lord blessed with like a 25-bedroom facility on like 28 and a half
Wow, that's
acres in New
awesome.
York. So we moved up there, started up everything, pioneered this entire work, and got it going. And so then fast forwarding now, talking about the digital products and some of the things that I'm doing. About in 2020 during the pandemic, I got married. But before I got married,
Congratulations, by the way.
appreciate it, thank you. Before I got married in 2019, I started like courting, right? Which is, I mean, basically, I started a relationship with my now wife. So then, before that time, like I was like really praying and saying, okay, Lord, I'm getting married, so like I need to be able to like focusing on some things just so that way I make sure like I will take care of my household. I mean,
Mhm.
the Bible has a lot to say about that, for husbands and so on, making sure that you can take care of your household
Right,
financially and so
right.
on. So then prior to that, like I was really focusing on pioneering the entire organization that we have. We run a lifestyle center and so on. Like my focus was fully there to the point where I wasn't paying myself, or we weren't paying ourselves anything for several years. So we weren't paying ourselves. We are just like
Mm,
putting everything back into the work. So literally now I'm starting off with $0. $0 in my
mm,
pocket, starting everything off, and about it, I'm contemplating being married. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I really have to push some of the things that I have going on. So that led me to first starting off like doing like Instagram. Like I'm like, okay, let me do something right now that doesn't take away a whole lot of my time. I was spending like a couple hours in the week growing my Instagram pages, and started off like growing my pages, got it to like 50K followers in less than like 6 months. And then after
mm.
I saw, okay, wow, I was able to get 50,000, over 50,000 followers in 6 months. Let me start other ones. So I started growing accounts. It got to over 100,000, over 200,000, etc., etc. And that was bringing in revenue. That was bringing in more revenue, but it still wasn't to the point that I would want it to be. I mean,
Mhm.
that was bringing in just a few extra $100 and so on, which is not where I wanted to be. But then I started doing more of agency work. So I started doing what you call like digital marketing agency, started this up.
Mm.
At first, I was like coaching clients on Instagram. Then afterwards, leading up to being married, now being married, I'm like, okay, I really just have to, push things even more. So that's when I'm like, okay, something just switches in your mind when you become a husband. It's like, okay, you just have to make sure that you get things together. So then the year when we got married, I mean, before that, we were both literally starting from $0. Like literally our wedding, besides my wife's dress, which basically the one that she was planning to use, she didn't even use, but the wedding actually cost under $100 um, for every single thing. And we got
Wow.
married during the pandemic.
Mm.
So then, I mean, at first we were like, okay, well, right now we started off from zero. We're planning a bigger wedding, and yeah, we're going by faith, but then we're still trying to get things going. But then it just wasn't, financially, we would not have been able to like probably do that entire
Right.
wedding that we wanted to do. But the Lord saw fit that COVID came, and got married in our living room. But I tell you this 1 year and being able to do more entrepreneurial work and starting off from zero, starting off going, building up with my wife. Like one of the things I actually told God before is like, hey Lord, if I get married, like help it not to be when I have a lot in the bank. Like I want to have little in the bank. So that way
Mm,
I can build with someone that is there not because of finances, but because of
mm,
who I am. And I tell you this, the the amount the Lord really blessed in that year 2020, where just in that short time frame, we got married in like March, started doing more business after that. Just in that short time frame, in like literally less than 9 months, we're able to build income, the more income that I was able to generate the past like 5 years of my entire life, and her
wow.
past 5 years as well together.
Wow.
So the
That's
Lord
awesome.
really just tremendously blessed, and even this new year as well, still the Lord is really blessing a lot more. And so I mean, I'm just so grateful for what God is doing and how God has led. And the Lord really just showed us, just really being faithful to Him, faithful to His principles. And one of the big things that I've been like really educating individuals on, as like every single week I have like this gospel entrepreneurship programs that I do as well, is how to be able to be successful in terms of
Hmm.
your business, whatever it is. And how can you experience success without compromising God's
Mm,
principles, by still being faithful to
right.
what God has said. A lot of time people think, hey, if I obey the Bible, like, doesn't that make you poor? Like, like that is one of the most
Mm,
absurd things. I believe that the Bible and God's message and God's truth is something that will actually allow one to experience tremendous prosperity and financial success. Like,
hmm.
I believe that if that is actually, if God's principles are followed. So I mean, I would say that has been a major thing for us. But yeah, God has really blessed us in a lot of things that we're doing. So now,
Mm,
like you were saying, with digital products, since we started off doing like, let's say, for example, growing pages on Instagram, and
hmm.
I was getting lots of success with that. I realized, okay, you know what? Instead of me just growing it for myself, which was very good, and I was driving sales to my e-com store, which I later started on from that as well, and running it for clients. I'm like, okay, how about I also like resell some of those? And
Mm,
so I started reselling them, and that's what, like, I call it like my digital real estate or social real estate. Like literally, I've sold like so many accounts. Like just last year, I
mm,
sold like literally over $30,000 worth of Instagram accounts. So and again, that I wasn't even doing it to like a huge level. It's just a few of them I sold,
mm,
and generated probably close to 40,000 just from social media, like digital real estate. Like, it's
wow.
guess what? I didn't invest $1 in any of them. I mean, I
Mm,
put time, but I didn't invest $1. So there are some people listening who has time but has no money, and I was one of those with no money but I had time. And the Lord was really
wow.
showing like the same principle I shared earlier. I believe it's Luke 16 verse 10. It says, if you're faithful in that which is least, God makes you faithful in much. Like, be faithful in the time that you have,
Mm.
whether you have 1 hour, 2 hours a day or a week to work on whatever it is. Being faithful to that, like, God tremendously blesses.
Thanks for watching the Lion and Lambo podcast. We hope this clip has been a huge blessing to you. And we want to remind you that we drop new videos, new podcast episodes every Sunday at 9 o'clock. You can find the full episode by clicking the card up at the top right of this video. If you prefer an audio only experience, then we want to let you know that we're streaming through every major podcast streaming platform. For the full list, you can go to www.lionandthelambo.com. Until next time, go impact the world.